think Arvin's probably just said, hopefully, a reassuring thing, because myself being in the digital sector, I think some of the things we've heard today and seen today are quite kind of mind-busting. So hopefully there's a bit of reassurance, I think, in the case study will take you through, just to show you at a level which I think a lot of you will be more familiar with, the SME market, of what you can do online, and really use the word, I think audacity or audacious was used by Andy from Google, and I thought it's probably one of those things that people need to do, we all need to do, and just be a wee bit braver. Some of the answers and some of the things I'll take you through today are very, very simple and straightforward. It's the old thing, keep it simple, stupid, kiss. So I'm not going to come in with anything that is really state of the art, but I think it's a very good case study, and audacious, I would say. My client's actually in the audience today, so I've got to be careful what I say, but I would give a lot of credit to the client here at Golden Charter, because for the type of business they are, it would have been easy to sit on the fence and just plod along. But they've had a bit of audacity themselves just to have a go at this, and I think we've proved, and hopefully I'll take you through a good case study here, that is, if you do things right and you think it through, and there's a bit of bravery there, then you can actually get great results out of online and digital channels quite straightforwardly. So there might be a clue in the title, pure dead brilliant. I hope it's not too tasteless for you. The sector I'm going to talk to you about is funeral planning. Perhaps not perceived as the most dynamic in the world, but it's a big business. UK market's worth over £500 million per annum. It's massive. It's not the sexiest market in the world, as you can understand, but there's some big players in it and there's some big money in it. Golden Charter are one of the top 3 in the UK, a Scottish-based company based in the West End of Glasgow. Been going for a long, long time. But you can see from some of the figures, just putting it all in context, Co-op's the big boys. They've got a great marketing campaign just now and everybody's aware of them as a brand, but their funeral care business is absolutely massive. Golden Charter has had a great growth over the years, but even with that, they've identified that digital, they thought, was going to be one of those growth sectors and another good channel for them. You would think with an ageing population, blah, 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 as people get older, but it's very interesting to see that the 50-plus market is when people start thinking about funeral plans. So we've learned a lot. We would have never thought of going after a client like this, but we were approached, asked to pitch, were successful, and it's been really eye-opening for us as a business at our end. You can see the facts and figures there. The sector grew 8% last year. You know, Dignity and Co-op are making big profit amounts of money, and Gold Charter are increasing their sales massively as well. So big growth sector, even in a recession. You know, maybe it's a recession-proof business. Death, I'm sure it is, but we can discuss that another time. So really straightforwardly, the brief for us was the client had identified they had a site that was kind of outdated look-wise and functionality-wise. It was a kind of bubbling brooks and misty-eyed sort of images of woodland and parkland and things like that, and that's what they thought people wanted to see. But the problem was they were getting hardly any leads and virtually no sales through the site. So, you know, hats off to them, as I say. They had a look at it, they thought, we think this is where things are going, we need to develop something in this channel or we might lose out. Co-op are very aggressive, Dignity are very aggressive, sort of 3i invested type of business, so they're growing very quickly. We need to do something about it as well. So what we did is we looked at the site, and they've got 1,200 funeral directors within their network as well, so it's a massive network of funeral directors who probably, I'm probably not being that unfair on them, aren't as times the most dynamic of individuals or businesses. You know, they've got traditional businesses, everybody's gone to the local funeral directors, that's where my grandmother went, that's where my mother went, that type of thing. So it's a traditional business, so they were kind of trying to open minds within their network and their members as well at the same time. So we actually dealt with this in a really pretty fundamental way. We did a complete redesign, obviously, as you'd expect a new agency to come in and do. But we looked at simple things like restructuring navigation. We came up with imagery which we thought was more contemporary and maybe reassuring. And you can see, hopefully you can see some of the images here. We came up with things that were related to people and had images of people in them. A lot of the research we did is people wanted to see people, but they didn't. You had to be subtle with this. You know, you can't just hit them over the head with it. If you've seen the Co-op TV ads, you know, get these beautiful horse-drawn carriages, and you've got the piper there and things like that. So they're trying to evoke something, but at the same time, so there's a subtlety in it. So we started using imagery like the generations of welly boots sitting inside the hall and when people are walking in. So it's all about families as much as anything else for people. So there's generations things, there's the grandparents, the mothers and the children. This is all about planning for the future. We're in financial services territory here, so we had to do something that was going to compete with that financial services territory. So we looked at the look and feel, and we come up with softer colours. We worked, obviously it had to relate to the brand, but imagery was key. That was the key thing for us. And we obviously looked at optimising the content for the search engine optimisation. Google here today, very good presentations. It's get out there, you know, you can't build it and they will come. You've got to communicate with people, and people are searching for these terms. You know, the amount of money that Co-op spend on AdWords is phenomenal in the UK, absolutely phenomenal amount of money. You've got all the big insurance companies spending money on it. You've got Sun Life with Michael Parkinson giving away free pens and alarm clock radios if you sign up. So it's a big, big business out there. So we had to look at a way of trying to not have to spend as much as these guys and compete with them, but actually try and be smart with it. So we looked at the SEO content, get some really good copywriters in, and made sure that it was relevant to people. Usability, accessibility goes without saying these days as far as websites are concerned. You've got to make sure you're DDA compliant and people are using your site, they're able to navigate their way around, and if they're using browser readers and things like that, you've got to be tight on it because you're looking at a mass audience here at the same time. And probably as key as anything, and I think we've gone over this today, is that there is a lot of technology out there, there's an awful lot of things flying around, and there is a lot of, what are we going to do? Simple things, reduce the number of steps in the purchase process. Simple as that. By doing that alone, we've made a massive difference to this website. Find out how people use things. It's almost like product design. How do you use it? How do you want to use this? Work through the processes, cut as many out as possible. People don't like too many options. You know, they say navigationally, don't have any more than 7 menu options because people don't want that. They just want it. Coming back to the Interflora thing, fascinating. Men don't want any more than 3. It's exactly right. Not quite that. You know, you've still got to cover your product range, but make it as simple as possible for people to use. And we can all do that through our own websites and anything we're developing online. So that doesn't cost you a fortune. That's just a bit of time with your customers and any users of your website. How easy is it? How easy can I make it for you to buy this product or find out more information? And one of the other things was 1,200 funeral directors. How am I going to find a funeral director? Google Maps, plug and play. Thank you, Google. What a difference that has made to anything that is geographically based as far as businesses are concerned. Fantastic API, fantastic product, and we're rolling out with a lot of our clients just now.